Hey guys, Joe Madden, the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. Joined this afternoon by Eric Young, professional wrestler for Impact Wrestling, also co-host out there. Eric, how's your day going?
It's it's going really well. Got a good hockey game. I wish there was more than one, but if I was going to pick one, this is the one. I love watching the Avalanche play. I think they end it tonight, but St. Louis is a tough team. Berube is one of the best coaches in the NHL, so it'll be a fun game to watch.
It most definitely will. Where are you watching this game tonight? Just at home?
So yeah, I'll watch probably the first period here. Then I'll be playing in a rec league championship myself tonight. So my team plays tonight, and we're in the Stanley Keg Finals. The Mighty Drunks is the team I play for here in Nashville, and nobody's really a drunk on the team, so it's a little misleading. But yeah, I still play poorly, but I just love the sport of hockey, and I play whenever I get a chance.
What position do you play on the team then?
I mostly play center. I grew up playing mostly defense, but I'm there for the exercise. I know it irritates people, but I chase every puck and I back check like a lunatic, and I work as hard as possible because I'm there for the exercise. I know that irritates some people, but that's okay. I'm not a good enough player to take it easy. If I want to be effective, I've got to work hard, and that's what I do every game. And having one of my best statistical years to date. I couldn't tell you how many goals and assists that is, but it's more than I normally get this season. So it's been good, man. It's been really, really good. It's been a long journey for me. Like I said, I stink at hockey growing up in Canada. I thought that was going to be my future until about high school, ninth grade, 10th grade. I played against a player that had just been drafted to the OHL, and I realized that he was about 1,000 times better hockey player than me, and it was unlikely he was going to play in the NHL. So my focus switched to wrestling very quickly.
And you've done so successful in the wrestling industry. Can you tell us about how you got started in that? Where was that switch when you were playing hockey? You saw that, but why wrestling?
I've been a fan of it my whole life. Definitely, I got more diehard into it. Probably around the 8th or 9th grade, I got back into it. I went to WrestleMania 3 in Detroit when I was a young kid, and had always kind of watched it loosely, but there wasn't a lot of it available where I grew up. I mean, still, they don't have cable television where I grew up. I mean, now with, these mini satellites and stuff, you can get whatever channel you want. But when I was growing up, that didn't exist, and satellites were these great big monstrosities in people's yards, and you had to like turn them, and they never worked. And then when they came out with the small RCA mini satellites, me and my friends went 3 ways on it, and it was like $1,000, which seemed like an insurmountable amount of money. Now they'll give them away for free, and if you sign up for a couple of years. But back then they were brand new, and it was state of the art. And we went in because we wanted to watch wrestling, wanted to be able to watch Monday Night Raw and whatever. And I got out of high school. I was never very good in school. I don't like being told what to do. I hated school. I hated going. I hated class. I hated almost everything about it. And I knew that if I went to school and borrowed money from the government, I would just drink and eat pizza and hang out with my friends and probably not go to class. So I went into wrestling about 2 weeks right after high school, and started training and wrestling right away. And here I am now. So, I mean, it all worked out, but it could have been a terrible backfire.
Well, absolutely, naturally gifted in wrestling to start just after high school and get to where you've gone with it. Hats off to you, Eric.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a cliche, and it is cheesy, but its truth is, as sure as I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm living my dream. It's all I've really wanted to do. It's the only occupation I really set out to do in my entire life, and I'm doing it. And the cool thing about it, it's opened a ton of doors in the fantasy sports space and the hockey space. And I had my own television show on Animal Planet. I've done all these other things that wrestling opened the door to those things. So without wrestling, I have nothing. Met my wife, have this beautiful home in Nashville, Tennessee. And it's been a true blessing. I worked my butt off. There's no doubt, and sacrificed a ton to get to where I'm at, but it's not lost on me that I'm one of the rare people that could say that I'm living my dream pretty much every day.
I love to hear that you're living your dream. Now, you classify yourself as a world-class maniac on your Twitter. I love that. Where did the passion for all sports and fantasy sports come from?
Yeah, I'm a huge sports fan. Played, every sport, you name it, I've played it. I, was really into baseball when I was younger, hockey as well. Played, very high level competitive baseball and hockey most of my young life. Played, I played soccer all through grade school and all through high school. Got into rugby. Probably could have got a
Nice.
scholarship to play for the University of Hamilton that my coach in high school wanted me to pursue. I loved rugby. I think I was pretty good at it, but it was not. I love wrestling at that point. Like the wrestling bug had bit me, and I just couldn't get enough of pro wrestling. And the truth was, is it kind of combines my two loves, and that's sport and entertainment and theater. And I did, community theater. I did improv Olympics. I took drama every year, made my own movies, and
Oh,
just
wow.
loved
Okay.
film and loved entertainment. And wrestling is both of those things at the same time. So it's the two things I love the most bashed into one beautiful thing. It's definitely not for everybody, but I think the more people understand it, the more they respect it. And it's obviously it's a $1 billion industry. It's all over the world. So it's a very cool thing to be part of.
Absolutely. Now, where did the competitiveness come from getting into the sports betting industry here? Because you're doing amazing things on the shows that you host, and you're making great calls in the sports betting space. Where did that passion come from?
Yeah, I think I've always been not like psycho competitive. I'm more competitive with myself than I am with another individual. And I think with sports gambling is you're not competing against an individual. You're competing against an institute. Uh, and
Absolutely.
anybody that we all want to take down the institute. We want to take down the big machine and take from it. Obviously, the Vegas, this massive, beautiful, crazy city isn't made in the middle of the desert because people win all the time. It's because they lose.
Yeah.
But the truth is, I think with sports gambling is the more you watch and the more you're informed and using analytics and using your eyes and watching and consuming the product allows you to make more informed. It's not like playing cards or, it's not just counting numbers or counting cards or the odds and this, the statistics. It has a lot to do with narrative. And that's always been, in the end, pro wrestling is storytelling and sports is a storytelling. It's in a different way, but that's what draws me to sports is the story of it and um, the idea behind people competing against each other at the highest level in a certain discipline is something that I've just been fascinated with my whole life, and got crazy into fantasy sports probably around 2004, 2005. Football was like my lead in, and then started playing hockey obviously right away. I did a little bit of baseball and stuff, but I just don't have the bandwidth for other sports. But
Mhm.
I've done football shows, I've done hockey shows, and obviously now sports gambling is taking over the world. So I do a hockey centric gambling ish show
So,
on Game Plus Network and FTN as well.
so tell us about the shows that you're on at the moment.
Yeah, Dangle Bet Selly is the primary one through FTN. I saw what they were doing, and they were hiring a lot of really smart, sharp minds, a lot of young and up and coming people in the fantasy industry. They were like kind of this new kid on the block. Obviously, FTN it seems to grow every week. People coming and going and hiring new people, and I've been friends with Chris Meany for 4 or 5 years. Me and him are really, really close and really good friends. And our main producer, George, is a really good buddy of mine and just an absolute wizard. I would talk hockey to anybody that will listen for free, but they pay me to do it, which is a bonus. I don't know. I just cannot get enough of it. I coined myself on the show, the fantasy or the hockey psycho. I'll watch 200 to 300 games a year. Technology and the internet allows me to do that anywhere I am. I can think of being in Abu Dhabi and setting my alarm to wake up at 2 a.m. so I could do cardio and watch a playoff game because I was over there during the playoffs and there was no way I was going to miss it. So yeah, I'm not a typical sports fan. I'm a bit of a lunatic. My
Yeah.
wife allows it. She likes sports, luckily, not like I do.
Oh, you lucked
But
out though.
yeah, I got lucky. And I love to learn and the puzzle of fantasy sports and the puzzle of sports gambling is just fascinating, and it's ever changing, and there's always something new to learn. And as you well know, and meeting all these interesting people, like having you on our show has been a good boost for us in our show, and your little niche that you've got carved out. It's just such a cool space, and everyone's supportive, and for the most part, and it's just a cool community to be part of.
Yeah, I'm loving that part of it, the community part of this. Everyone looks at it as it's such a big space, but at the end of the day, the circle's pretty small, and there's some incredible people in this space. So I'm so honored to meet people like yourself and be able to guest on your shows, and then have you guest on my show. It's a lot of fun. But Eric, let's talk some hockey for tonight. We have the St. Louis Blues and the Colorado Avalanche going at it here. Any chance the Blues can pull off this upset, or are the Avs going to finish it off tonight?
I like I said, starting, I think the Avs finish it tonight. From the start of the year, and I'm not changing that vote, and I haven't changed it all year. I think that the Colorado Avalanche win the Stanley Cup. I put my money where my mouth is at the start of the year. The odds are not good. I'm not going to make a ton of money betting on the Colorado Avalanche because a lot of people thought the same thing. But I think with the disappointment from last year, the saying in sports, and especially in hockey, is you got to learn to lose before you win. And not making it there last season was probably a disappointment for them. And I think on paper, they're an even better team this year with Lehkonen coming over, Valerie Nikushin, who's been a huge favorite. I wrote for him about him on The Athletic 3 or 4 years ago. It was just I saw him doing clean-in pulls in the hallway after a game, and I was like, oh, that guy wants it. And he's just kind of been one of my pet players ever since. But he's really stood out this year as a kind of a young and upcoming player. I believe they have the best defensive core in the entire NHL. Bull Byram, their member of the third pair, could be the number one defenseman on any blue line. I think losing Samuel Girard is a big loss for them. Yeah. But they have someone like Johnson to step in, who has a ton of experience and is a pretty solid defenseman. I don't think he's not in Girard's wheelhouse, but he's a really good player. I just think it's just team speed. It literally looks like when you're watching the game with your eyes, Colorado seems like they're on fast forward, and St. Louis, not that they're slow as they used to be, but they just don't, because of Kyrou and Thomas, they have some players that can keep pace, but not enough. And I just think the overall aggressiveness and overall team speed of the Avalanche, it's a backbreaking for a team. Like, you're just working so hard. And, you've been watching the games. I've been watching games. Every time St. Louis has the puck, they're just chipping it out and changing because it's all they can do. Colorado has dominated almost every period of this series. I will tip my cap to Berube. I will tip my cap to the St. Louis Blues. They're a tough team. They're a good team, but there's just no way they can get past Colorado.
Yeah, I find it very hard to think that they could either, especially with Binghamton going out. And nothing against Huso, but he's not able to stand on his head like Binghamton did in those first 2 games. So
yeah, he looked pretty overwhelmed. I'm with you on that in lockstep. Yep. Bennington's been there. He's done that. And there is something to say about experience, and you can't buy, you can't learn, you can't purchase experience. You can only achieve it. And Bennington was a perfect example of that. Huso had taken the net from him, and then Bennington took it back in the playoffs. And I mean, literally the only reason St. Louis has a win in this is because of Jordan Bennington.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you there. Now, thoughts on the total at all in this one? We got a total of 6.5. If the Avs win it, are they playing a higher scoring game, or are their defense really stepping up and shutting down the Blues tonight?
Yeah, for me, it's no fun betting the under. It's just no fun.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that Colorado could easily put up 4, and I would be very surprised if the St. Louis Blues don't put up 2 or 3. So I would definitely go the over here. St. Louis Blues, you're going to get their best game. I mean, there's not a doubt in my mind. Do I think this will be a blowout? No. Do I think the Colorado Avalanche win? Yes. Do I think that they win convincingly? Yes. But do I think that there's a massive pushback from the St. Louis Blues? I do. So I would definitely bet the over. I'm just not really into betting the under. It is so depressing.
Yeah,
especially with, to happen.
Yeah, especially with an elimination game here. We know Huso will be pulled from goal if the St. Louis Blues are down. And for the Avs, they want to finish this off. They want as much rest as they can going into the next series. So if they, for some reason, get down, they'll pull their goalie as well. So I don't see this one staying under that 6.5. Like you said, also super depressing to take the under in games and pray that nothing happens.
Yeah, it's I'm not telling people to always bet the over. It just when I'm sure about it, I like betting the over, and I'm sure that I feel like we could easily six goals tonight, and I think 4 of them could easily come from the Colorado Avalanche.
Absolutely. There's a team total of over 3.5. I know there was plus money on that this morning for the Avs, you guys. So good way to look at it. And if you like the St. Louis Blues, their team total is over 2.5 at -112. So should be a great game, Eric. I wish you the best in your bets tonight. Can you remind everyone where to find you on socials, where to find your shows, and anything else that you want to promote here before we finish the show?
Yeah, Dangle Bet Selly is on FTN Network. You can find it on any platform. It's on YouTube. You can watch it at any time. We typically go live at 10 if you want to experience that. We've built this really cool community. You've been part of it, Joe, is the last couple shows you've been on. And it's it's kind of surreal. There's people from all over the world in there, mostly from Canada and the United States, but we've had some other people from other countries in there, and they're talking. And for me, I've learned a ton by just being on the show from some of these people, and they're just so sharp and they're so dedicated, huge, crazy hockey fans. The FTN network has been a really cool home for me. The show itself has, I think, surprised them and surprised me and Chris. It's done really well. It's also on the Game Plus network, so anywhere you can get that, you can watch as well. You can find me or talk to me about hockey anytime on the Eric Young on Twitter and the Eric Young IG on Instagram. Listen, if I don't respond, it just means that I'm busy and I have a life outside of being on social media. I have over 600,000 social media followers, all said and done. So it literally can be a full-time job trying to respond to everybody. If I miss it, I'm sorry. It's nothing personal. I'm just doing something like watching hockey and putting my phone away because it's irritating.
Yeah, exactly. Eric, thank you so much for joining me. Good luck in your game tonight. I hope it goes well. I really hope your team gets the win. Is this the final game for you guys, or where are you in your series?
This is the finals. This is the finals. I think they do 3 or 4 seasons a year. Hockey is booming here in Nashville, and it's cool. I can play with the same group of guys all year round. But yeah, this is the finals for us tonight. The Stanley Keg will be in attendance. It'll be and I'm hoping to hoist it over my head again and take a lap. We've won it 5 or 6 times over the last 3 or 4 years. So we've got a pretty good team, pretty good thing going here. So tonight will be a tough one, and we're looking forward to it. I just love the game and love to play and love to be out there with the guys.
Now, is there anywhere we can place bets on you tonight to get this win?
Oh, God, no.
Okay.
Hopefully nobody ever sees me play either. It's an embarrassing moment.
Oh, I'm sure it's not, Eric. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys, make sure you go give Eric Young a follow. All of the tags are below with his Twitter. Eric, thanks again. Have a wonderful night, you guys. I will be back at the bottom of the hour with another Joe Madden Sports podcast. Thanks, Eric.